Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Dunn Wisdom Morning Show. I don't know if you can hear my music, but I'm listening to a little bit of India RE. Woo! Getting my vibes high. Good morning, all. My name is Melissa P. Dunn. I am the CEO of MD Marketing Network and the founder of this Dunn Wisdom movement, where we absolutely adore introducing you to women who are getting it done in life and in business, as well as sharing tips and suggestions for you to live the life that you design, one that is healthy, one that is happy, one that is your dream life. And today we are going to try a little bit different. I'm going to invite you to play with me a little bit. So I want you to grab your favorite beverage. For me, I'm drinking some coffee this morning. And we are going to have a mindful morning together. So I am, as you know, I am not only a public servant and an entrepreneur, but I am also someone like you that's trying to figure it out, that's trying to live the life that I design on purpose. And one of the things that really helped me, you guys, is mindfulness. And so I'm going to share with you some tips that will support you today. And I invite you to maintain an open mind. If you are joining me today, I really would like for you to participate. If you're watching this live, type in your name, the city that you live in, and really join the conversations, because we are going to do this thing together. We're about to have a mindful morning. All right. So we are going to be talking about mindfulness today, right? And specifically how to decrease your stress and increase your happiness without sacrificing your productivity through mindfulness. So this is a great thing for anyone who is a busy life, busy schedule, lots of things to do. Mindfulness basically is the energy of being aware and awake in the present moment. And one of my favorite authorities on mindfulness is Thich Nhat Hanh. I am obsessed with him. In fact, this is what I am looking at right now. I'm finishing up his book. Let me see if you can see it. It's called The Miracle of Mindfulness. Really, really an amazing book. And one of the things that Ty talks about is that mindfulness is mindfulness, one is not only restful and happy, but one is awake and alert. So that means mindfulness, in essence, is a tool that you can use in your life, right? That will support you in being completely awake. Now, I'm going to tell you something that's happening to me as we speak. So I live in a complex in Lauderhill, right? And this complex was bought over by a new owner. And I noticed that they're now requiring us to register our vehicle so that it won't be towed. I resisted it, but eventually got my vehicle registered. I woke up this morning, y'all, and my car is gone. Towed. Okay? Early morning, nothing to be done. The office is closed. Who can I call? I'm certainly not going to bother the police department with this matter. So what did I do? The old Melissa would have been pissed. The old Melissa, yeah, we would have been making some phone calls. We would have been knocking on some doors, and my car would have already been in the parking lot by the time I got on the show. But through the practice of mindfulness, I am so calm. I literally had an out-of-body experience this morning, watching myself react with such calm. My blood pressure has to be super low right now. And inside, I feel peaceful. Inside, I feel still. Now, can you imagine waking up and seeing that your car in the apartment complex that you pay a lot of money to live in and your car is gone, especially since you registered the car, right? And it's not being parked illegally. So can you imagine the amount of stress-induced anxiety that would have presented, right? Oh, are you not able to hear? If you're not able to hear, could you put a 1 in the chat? Let me know if you guys are if there's an issue with the audio. I see somebody is asking the question if they're not able to hear. Okay, you can hear. All right, great. Thank you. Check your settings to make sure that I'm not really sure what the issue is with that. But in any case, you guys, can you imagine the amount of stress that would have been? And I can tell you the reason why I feel so calm that I'm here doing the show with you guys, sitting very mindfully on a cup of coffee, is because I practice mindfulness and I pay attention to how I feel. I'm in touch with what's happening. And so I'm going to teach you some things today. Good morning, Miss Joy. Good morning. Happy blessings to you. Listen, ladies, if you're watching in the Facebook group, I don't know who it is. So if you'll just type in your name so that we can make sure that you join the conversation. Let me see who is watching. If you're in the Woman Getting It Done Facebook group, it just says Facebook user. I can't really see who it is. Morning, Miss Joy. Good to see you. Anyways, ladies, so that's been my drama this morning, right? But I am feeling so amazing. So that's really what mindfulness does, right? And there are 4 foundations of mindfulness that I want to teach you this morning. The first mindfulness is your mindfulness of your body. Now, listen, we know as women, this right here, mindfulness of body, is something that is so present for all of us, present for us in a lot of ways. Hey, Naftali, good morning. Thank you for watching. Hey, Dr. Gray, good to see you, Dr. Keisha Gray. Thank you for joining today. So the first foundation of mindfulness is mindfulness of the body, right? And I don't mean it in a sense that as women, we automatically think, which is, how does my body look? No, not really. That's not what I mean. I mean, how does your body feel, right? For me, good morning, Arlene. Thank you so much for watching. Good morning to you. So when I say mindfulness of the body, I mean, what's happening in your body right now? Sometimes for me, when I feel anxious, I feel, or there's a conversation that I need to have that is particularly giving me some anxiety, my throat, I would feel a lump right here. So anytime I may not be aware of what I'm thinking, I can check in with my body. What's happening in my body? And, okay, so what are you really worried about? Because worry and anxiety for me shows up here. Stress shows up here in my shoulders, right? And sometimes even lower back pain is not lower back pain. Sometimes it's a lot of worry and anxiety and stress. So you've got to be mindful of your body, be mindful of what's happening there. That's a really big clue. Remember the Manifest 90 creation process, right? Your thoughts trigger your emotions inspire your actions, and your actions dictate your result. So a lot of times by you checking in with your body to see what's happening, that is a clue as to what's really happening in your mind, what's happening in your emotion. And that's an opportunity for you to do an intervention and say, and use some of the techniques that I'm going to share with you later on in the presentation. So the next thing is mindfulness of your feelings. This is so very important for us. A lot of times we feel anger and we don't call it anger. We don't name it. Sometimes we feel depression or overwhelm or stress and we don't say it out loud. I want you to name your emotions, to ask yourself, how am I feeling in this moment? Again, your body is going to be a clue, but your emotions is going to be a clue too, right? So pay attention to how you feel, ladies. This is so important. Your feelings, right, are an indicator as to where you are in the manifestation process. So if you're feeling negative emotions, and it's not right or wrong, there's no right or wrong here, right? The key is to just recognize how you feel and name it so that you can shift if you need to shift out of it, or amplify it if you need to. So for example, right now I'm feeling excited, I'm feeling calm, which is great. So before I got on this podcast, I listened to a whole bunch of music that really lifts and elevates my vibration, because I want to feel more of that. Particularly because after I get off the show, I'm going to make some phone calls to find out what the heck happened to my car, right? So if you're feeling an emotion like, let's say, anger, recognize it, name it, try to figure out what was the thought or the situation that triggered that emotion, so that you can you can hold it, you can get to the root of it. Because the more you understand why you feel the way that you feel, the better opportunities you have to shift out of that emotion, to deal with it, to deal with the thing that's making you angry, to deal with the thing that's making you feel overwhelmed or depressed, and then move on, right? Don't sit in it, because that's when you induce suffering on yourself. I remember when I first lost Uriel. I mean, not even when I first lost him, even up until 2016, when I was still grieving the loss of my son. I remember sometimes being at work and just feeling depressed for no reason. That's what I was thinking consciously, right? Is that, oh, why am I feeling depressed for no reason? And then because at the time, I was already starting to put these transformational tools into practice for myself, I was able to trace it back to the thought. And you know what? It's a process. And sometimes all I could do was put on a song to make myself feel better. All I could do was go outside for a walk and take off my shoes and feel my toes in the grass to make me feel better in that moment, for me to soothe myself in that moment. Because guess what? When you act from a place of negative emotion, it doesn't take you towards your dream. Right? That's not the time to make moves. That's not the time to try and make decisions about your family or your life or your business. So it's really important for us to be mindful of what we're feeling. That's an important part of the manifestation process. And then the other thing I want you to be mindful of is what's happening in your mind. Now, again, these are the foundations of mindfulness as taught by the expert, okay? Thich Nhat Hanh. These are the 4 foundations of mindfulness that I got straight from him. So, again, your emotions, your mind, your body, all of it is connected. It is all connected. What you say to yourself about yourself matters. What you say to yourself about your situation matters. What you say to yourself about your relationships matters. So, what's happening in your mind? How are you talking to yourself? How are you talking to your problems? How are you talking to the mountains in your life? Are you retelling the story over and over and over again about why things are not working out and why this person is doing you that? Right? Are you telling the story over and over in your mind, even if you're not saying it out loud? Or replaying all of the negative things that's happening in your life is just creating more of that. Because your mind is where everything starts. That's where it starts. Your success and your failure, your happiness and your suffering, all of it starts in your mind. And guess who controls your mind? You. You are the only person that controls what you think. Nobody else. All right. So please be mindful of what's happening in your mind. And the next bit is, of course, mindfulness of the Dharma. Now, mindfulness of the Dharma is still something that I'm learning, but based on my understanding, it's mindfulness of what you what you allow to come into your space, right? The things that you hear, the message that you receive from the outside environment. So be really, really mindful of that. So those are the 4 foundations of mindfulness, right? And I'm going to tell you how mindfulness has helped me. I already told you one story of how it's helped me. It helped me a lot with my car this morning being towed. And it also helped me a lot when I am in business. Yesterday I was on a conference call and a video chat, and I could see from watching my face in the screen that I was having a visible reaction to the conversation. And I was able to do 3 things. Man, you see what I just did? I smiled. I smiled. That's a mindfulness practice, believe it or not. It's really simple. Just smile. And when you smile, it releases a whole bunch of endorphins and chemicals that automatically raises your vibration. The second thing that I did during that conversation was I took 3 deep breaths. Now, I'm in the middle of a negotiations, right? I'm on Zoom. I'm in the middle of negotiating something on behalf of the city of Lauderhill with a partner. And you know what I did? I breathed. I took a deep breath. I took a deep breath. And in that moment of smiling and breathing, do you see what just happened a while ago? Do you notice that even the tone of my voice shifted a while ago because I smiled and I breathed? Now the emotions are contained. My vibration is up, and now I'm really able to truly listen, to listen for what I'm not hearing, to listen for the message behind what the person is saying, but not really saying. Do you know what I mean? And as a result of really stepping into the present moment and being mindful, I was able to truly hear internally a solution, and I was able to say something that turned the whole conversation around. So mindfulness is a really powerful, powerful tool. Arlene says, great suggestions. Don't make decisions when you are upset. Truth, Arlene. I'm telling you, I have done it. And I've decided that it's not a practice that I'm going to indulge in anymore. So, all right, mindfulness of the Dharma. Now, I want to show you some really concrete ways that you can practice mindfulness. Very concrete ways. So, pay attention to how you feel. Connect with your breath while doing daily chores. Go for a mindful walk. Sit in meditation for about 10 to 15 minutes. Eat mindfully. There's a Bell of Mindfulness and the Day of Mindfulness. So let me talk to you about each of these. So paying attention to your feelings, right? Very important, very important. So one of the things that I have the women in my Manifest 90 program do is, for the first 30 days of the program, we do a joy infusion practice. And in that time, one of the exercise is for them to name how they're feeling in this moment. I think a lot of times we go through life, we go through our day on autopilot. And remember, the creation process says that you are creating right now the moment that you're going to be living in a month, the moment that you're going to be living in 10 years. You're creating that right now. So think about how your day is going. Think about what's happening up here. The things that you're thinking, the way that you're feeling, is this the life that you want to create in 10 years? So when you are mindful of your feelings, when you're mindful of what's happening in your body, you're mindful of what's happening in your mind, then you can either amplify the things that you want, or you can pivot and transmute the things that you don't want. Does that make sense? So one of the suggestions, again, is being mindful of your feelings, and then connect to your breath while doing your daily chores. Now, when I saw that suggestion, I'm like, listen, there is no way I'm going to be washing dishes, by hand and breathing mindfully, or cooking dinner and breathing mindfully, or cleaning my house and breathing mindfully. First of all, I don't like to cook. I know how, but it's not one of those things that I do naturally to relax and bring me joy, right? It's something that I literally have to schedule to do. Well, guess what? This week is the first week ever that I actually practiced mindful cooking. And what that looked like for me was choosing foods that were beautiful and bright color. And so as I'm putting the vegetables in the pot, I'm actually noticing the green in the snap peas and the texture of the broccoli, and just really being very present to what I am cooking. And I have to tell you, it worked. It made me feel really, really, really good. And the other suggestion is being going out in nature. Now, you guys know I love that. My morning runs, my morning walks, I absolutely love being out and catching the sunrise, particularly over the ocean. And that's really a mindfulness practice, right? When people think of mindfulness, sometimes they think that it has to be very time consuming, but it really doesn't. You can walk mindfully from your car to your office building, or from your car to the shopping center. All you do is just breathe and pay attention to your breathing as you're walking. That's mindful meditation. Drinking a cup of coffee, like I have this morning, you can use that as a mindfulness moment. Just take your time and sip. And pay attention to the flavors. Pay attention to the temperature, and just be present in the moment. Not thinking about your to-do list while you're drinking your coffee. Not replaying the conversation you and your boyfriend or your husband or your wife had last week, but just being present in the moment, right? That renews your energy, right? Even just a moment ago, taking that mindful sip of coffee, I could feel myself calming. And you know what happens when you practice mindfulness? You fill your cup. You fill your cup so that you can give from your overflow. You know, as women, we tend to give of ourselves. We give to our jobs. We give to our clients. We give to our family. You know, we give to our parents, our children, our spouse. We're constantly giving. And guess what? Giving is great, because giving and receiving is the cycle of abundance in life, right? But you know what's better than giving? It's giving from your overflow rather than giving from fumes. If your cup is empty, you're on fumes. No wonder you're unhappy. No wonder you're stressed out. No wonder you're overreacting to little things. No wonder you can't see clearly what your next step is, because you're running on fumes. Guess whose responsibility it is to keep your cup full? Yours. It's not your spouse's responsibility. It's not your boss's responsibility. It's not your kid's responsibility. It is 100% your responsibility. Because remember the 4 keys to mindfulness: being aware of what's happening in your body, being aware of what's happening in your emotions, being aware of what's happening in your mind, right? Those 3 alone, ladies and gents who are watching the replay, those 3 alone are game changers. So here's my request for today. Set your timer on your phone for maybe every hour. Just for today, just for the next 24 hours, okay? Set the timer on your phone to go off once an hour, like on the hour. And first, I want you to notice if you even notice the timer going off. And when the timer goes off, I want you to take a mindful minute. What does that mean? That means stop what you're doing. Take 3 breaths. And I'm going to show you a way to do it to replenish yourself very easily. Okay. So this is the exercise. Take a deep breath. I know I'm breathing in. Breathing out. I know I'm breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Just that simple. And do you know what that does for you by focusing on your breath? It then breaks your concentration from whatever it is that your mind was fixated on in that moment. And it replenishes you, it refreshes you, it renews you. So try that today. That's my request of you. So those of you who are watching live, let me know if you're going to try this exercise. Just do it for today and see what happens. So if you want to play this mindfulness game with me, type yes in the chat. So mindfulness is a real game changer. You know, I remember that. All right. So Arlene says, yes, she's going to try it. And then we have another Facebook user who says, yes. I'm assuming that's either Neftali or Dr. Gray saying yes. Wonderful. Thank you, women getting it done. I love it. Yeah, and I'll do it with you too. You know, so this is really the practice that's called the Bell of Mindfulness. All right, we have another woman that's saying yes, she will get it done today by practicing mindfulness. All right, Dr. Gray, I see you. I see you. Fantastic. So the exercise that I just gave you is called the Bell of Mindfulness. So Thich Nhat Hanh is he's a Zen master, and I encourage you to look him up. It's fantastic. But they have a Plum Village app that actually has the bell on it. And that's one of the things that I do. And one of the things that I notice about myself is that sometimes I'm so caught up in my work that I don't even notice when the bell goes. And when it does go off, and I stop and I breathe, it really does replenish me. So one of the practices that I'm personally working on that I have not yet been able to master is mindful eating. The mindful eating practice for me is a challenge because mindful eating requires that you just eat. You're not eating at your desk working. You're not eating while you're watching TV or checking social media. All you're doing is, and before you eat, you pray, which I do, but sometimes I find that I do it so quickly, right, that it really doesn't land the way that it should. But when you eat mindfully, you're supposed to, put the food in front of you, look at it, recognize it, right, acknowledge the food, and then breathe. And for me, I add a prayer, and then you chew, put down the fork, and then you focus on chewing the food that's in your mouth. Chew it all the way through, and just focusing on the act of chewing, not thinking anything else, but being very present with the food that's in your mouth. And then when you're finished that, then you take up another bite and you chew and you sit in silence. I have not been able to do that. It's something that I have a habit scorecard that I use every morning to kind of check off the habits that I'm cultivating. And mindful eating is one of the habits that I intend to take on and fully master in the next Manifest 90 cycle that's coming up. But if you're able to understand that, if you're able to do it for yourself, then please teach me, because that's something that I really want to get better at. All right. And then the other mindfulness technique is then a day of mindfulness. And again, a day of mindfulness is just when you spend the day practicing mindfulness all day, being very present. You don't work. You don't do anything other than things that will bring you joy and that will keep you to be very present. That's the other practice that I intend to take on in the next 90-day cycle when we do Manifest 90. So that's my commitment, ladies. I'm going to practice mindful eating and a day of mindfulness in my next 90-day cycle. I really hope what I taught you was supportive to you. Let me see if there's anything else that I have to cover on the slides. Oh, yes, please stay connected with me. If you have not yet started to follow us on WhatsApp and on Instagram, on Instagram and on Facebook, please do. That helps a lot. I hope that this really supported you. Teaching this class really supported me because it helped me to even be present to the fact that I'm changing. You know, this morning, having my car towed and me feeling as calm and as present as I feel this morning, instead of being upset or feeling devastated or worried and thinking about, oh my gosh, I have to be vice mayor today and my car is towed and I have to go to meetings and what am I going to do? I'm calm. And I'm present and I'm alive and I'm happy. The external circumstance of my morning is not uprooting me. I am right now in this moment feeling as solid as a mountain and like clear, still water. That's how I feel in this moment. And I have to tell you, even 6 months ago, that would not have been the case. And so I'm really grateful for the practice of mindfulness because being upset would not have changed that my car was towed. Instead, it would have raised my blood pressure, stressed me out, keep me from coming onto this show and showing up in the way that I'm showing up. But instead, by practicing mindfulness, I'm calm, I'm clear, and I'm available. I'm available to hear God's voice guiding me on how to solve the situation. And for that, I am grateful. So I really encourage you to practice mindfulness today. Set the alarm on your phone every hour. When the alarm goes off, you're going to take a deep breath 3 times and just get present. And then you go back to doing what you're doing. All right. Thank you so much, ladies, for joining me for this Dunn Wisdom morning show. I am so grateful that you are allowing me to support you on your journey to becoming the best version of yourself, living your dream life on your terms. Remember, fill your cup, okay? Be kind and loving to yourself. You deserve it. Be well.